Tim from State Farm.
Khakis.
Khakis. Oh my. Okay. I'm gonna refresh this chat to ensure that whatever comes up on YouTube will at least show up there. And let's see if I can get this to be muted so I don't hear myself twice. Oh, there it is. Quiet. I don't want to hear myself twice. Thank you. Okay, and there's that. And then we'll share this as myself. There we go. Share.
Are we live, Brandon?
We are live, yes. We are, in fact.
I got a hot cup of Joe. I'm feeling pretty good.
It sounds cozy.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like, being a person who drinks hot liquids? What is that like?
Do you not drink hot liquids?
I don't. It's the weirdest texture to me. Like, I like my liquids cold with ice.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's soup. Soup is the exception. I can do hot soup. But, like, I don't know, anything else, like a hot chocolate or coffee or whatever it may be, it just is so bizarre. I'm like, what? Why am I drinking hot liquid? Ooh, weird. But that's just me. That's just a theory. Game theory. Okay, never mind.
On my side, I'm titling this, "Are you codependent, clingy? Do you deal with someone who is? One of us is totally clingy, and we're talking it out."
Wow! Wow, Tim! Just throw me directly under the bus. It's okay. I did the same thing myself. I had my name in parentheses so people know it's me, not you.
I'm glad. I don't like people thinking these things about me, Brandon.
God forbid if Tim was clingy.
Yeah, I have a reputation to uphold. So.
I'm trying my best to laugh a little bit farther away from my microphone. I can see it go into the red every laugh I take. Oh my goodness. Anyways.
Yeah, whenever I'm editing, I have to look for those spikes in the decibels. I'm like, oh, Brandon just laughed.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Thought Raid, a show where we take on your thoughts and find better ways of thinking about them. I'm Brandon Brown, owner of United Gamers Nations and LA counselor, and gathered with me today is the wonderful Tim Denock of Break the Meta. Yes, I will almost get this correct. I
So close.
I want to throw in the LLC part every time.
I'm no longer an LLC, Brandon. I dropped it.
Oh wow, fascinating.
No, I'm just kidding. I just don't.
Oh my
God,
Tim! I never know. I never know when you're serious or when you're not serious. It's a threat. I can't tell.
I'm super good at lying, Brandon. That's why.
That's not good.
Hey, check these out. Check these out. Look at those. I've been going to the gym. Can you see a difference?
Tim, please. Anyways, welcome to this episode of Get Naked Monday, where again we always get metaphorically naked, not hypothetically.
You're gonna say we get high.
We get hot.
Or we always get high.
No, we get metaphorically naked and talk about things specifically going on in our lives. And it's my week this week, so I get to throw myself under the bus and just be vulnerable with you guys. And let me tell you, this time I'm feeling again pretty like awkward about this one, but it is important because I need to figure out the answer to what I'm going through right now. So, welcome to my week of Get Naked Monday. So, a little context. One of the things about Brandon, about me, is that every once in a while, there will be people that pop up in my life where for some reason I just become like codependent with, and it's not like it's like some abnormal thing. Like it's just like all of a sudden just came. No, it's happened repetitively. Part of me kind of feels like it's kind of come out of the lack of good friends that I had growing up, and so it probably kind of there's like a desert involved in that kind of thing. And so like, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to growing up in the social desert, the minute I find any source of water, any kind of friendship it's there for me, I'm just big slurp immediately. Yes. And I'll cling to that person, and just throw my whole self into them. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
like I'm needing a lot from them, but it's more so I want to help them and I want to be there for them. I think it more so lands on the codependent side than it does necessarily the clingy side, although from some perspectives you could say that I get clingy.
Well, is it codependent or dependent? Because codependent assumes that they're also dependent on you.
Well, I guess in some cases it could be a mutual thing, but at least I can become dependent on someone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but either way, I have these. No, it kind of does more than not, because of how much I become present in that one particular person's life. They end up to some degree mutually then also becoming reliant on me to varying degrees. Not some
Mm-hmm.
are extreme cases and some are not so much. But because I have a lot to give, and I think I have a lot to give. Like when I pour into any relationship, I try to give the most of myself as I can to build that person up, to make sure that they feel
Mm-hmm.
loved, to help them through whatever they're going through, stuff of that nature. That is naturally who I am, who God has made me to be specifically. But the only problem is that oftentimes when I get into this place, sometimes I've recognized through a question that you asked me before the stream that I'm ignoring other issues that are going on, primarily anxieties, and that probably drives the whole codependent instance with that person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've done that over my life, and I'm recognizing that it's happening again. Because what happens is, I get really invested to a person, and then when I cannot continue to invest into them as much as I'd like to, then I begin to feel anxious, and I like consumed with thinking about that person, trying to help that person, being there for that person, everything, and it's just not healthy. And that's as far as it really goes. But it's just like, it's just not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had a situation over the past couple of weeks where I've kind of fallen into that again, and I'm embarrassed and frustrated with myself, because it's like it's a really vulnerable place for me to be, and I think this time it's probably come out of just, when it comes to the financial support that I'm getting from the government right now, thanks to COVID, that's coming to a close. And right now, at this exact moment, as we're recording this particular video, we have not stepped into a place yet where we're getting donations from other people to do what we're doing. So if that never happens, I'm going to have to go from here back into regular jobs to continue to take care of my bills. And I just would much rather continue doing this for you guys than I would selling you some product at some store. I can do that, and I will if I have to, but if it was up to me, I would much rather, sit here, talk about what I'm going through, make highlights so that you can make the videos, Tim, and we can continue just reaching out to people on a regular basis. And I think that's just, it's catching up to me, because again, we're getting closer to the end of that financial buffer,
Mm-hmm.
and the anxiety is creeping back in. And I think, since of some questions you've asked me, what's happened is that when someone begins to like really come to rely on me, and they're asking questions and I'm there for them, and I've got other things that are making me anxious, then I'll just zero in on that person or persons, because then I don't have to think about my own anxieties. I can worry about yours, which is far less of a problem for me, because I'm not in there with you, literally. Like, I am in a sense because I'm helping you out, but I'm not like living your life. And I feel like I'm getting stuck in that trap again, Tim.
Mhm.
And I don't know exactly what to do. And so I've enlisted your help to guide with question asking and stuff of that nature, so that hopefully during this stream, maybe we can get to the bottom of that. And
Mhm.
moving forward, should I get into another time like this, I don't also get stuck in another codependent developing
Yeah.
relationship with a person.
Well, it's weird because I was on the receiving end of this at one point, in
Mm,
in a good way, right? Like when you and I first formed our friendship, you invested so much time and so much energy
that
into
is
me,
true.
and at the time, I loved it. Well, I say at the time, like I don't love it now. Like I do enjoy having a friendship with you, but back then, you were so keen on making sure that I was okay, you know? And I was like, for the first time in my life, I have somebody who actually, well, aside from my mentor, who invests every day. Hey, Tim, how are you doing? Here's some encouragement. Here's some, let's pray together. Let's go on a walk together, you know? And when you don't have that and somebody comes in your life and gives you that, it's like, whoa, this person really cares about me. This is really awesome, you know? Um, and now I've gotten to a much healthier place where I'm not as dependent on you or my other friends for fulfillment or for value or for affirmation, because you need that stuff in life in different ways. Um, I'm looking at the relationship that you have right now with this person and how you're navigating it with this person, and you're doing the same thing, which is admirable and it's awesome because everybody wants to feel appreciated, everybody wants to feel seen and valued. But when you think about investing into another person, what percentage of yourself do you feel like you give to them?
Oh, interesting. I've never thought to quantify that. Um. Uh. Let's just throw out a number. Let's say 1/4 of my time, 25% of my time, give or take more, depending. I end up throwing into that person, like just thinking
Hmm.
about them, reaching out to them, helping them out with something. Like it's there on the forefront of my mind a lot. Um,
Hmm.
and it's not like the entirety of my thoughts, but it's definitely like a consistent. Like I wake up, I'm thinking about this person. I'm going to bed. I'm done with the day. But I wake up and again, they're in front of my mind again. I'm like, how are they doing?
Hmm.
Stuff of that nature, and just like, it's just like like I have other
Hmm.
people in my life. But I
Yeah.
enjoy investing into this particular person because they also enjoyed as well. So it's just like this synergy, and then I just, it, I feel like it may also come out of like a place of dryness too,
Hmm.
uh, inexplicably.
Yeah. Well, my old boss had a really good analogy for this, and he was talking about rocks, and he talked about if you had a bucket, you have all your big priorities, your big rocks, and you can only fit so many of those in the bucket. And once you've got your big rocks in there, you fill it in with all the filler sand and debris and whatnot. And that's all the secondary and tertiary things. And the reason I asked you that question is there have been times in my life where I've focused everything I am into doing one thing and other areas of my life are neglected. For instance, I can go 15 hours while editing videos and doing stuff for what we do and forget to eat food or go to the bathroom. And then I get to the end of it and I'm like, "Oh, why am I so weak? Oh God, I'm going to die." Like, I'm glad Ariane's coming home to save me, And I don't know, especially when you have good intentions moving in that direction, it's really hard to identify where to draw the line,
Yeah,
but,
that's
the
interesting. I would definitely say, like, again, percentage wise, anywhere it's between 25 to maybe 40% at most of my thought, because I've never actually like completely ignored my needs on someone else's behalf. But
mhm,
I've definitely amount of free time, and it's the same thing I do in a sense with God. When I have a free moment, I'm thinking about Him or His Word or things of that nature. But then every once in a while, periodically, another person will kind of come close to that too, where free thoughts go into that person as well as it does with God. So I'm not neglecting my needs. I still eat. I still, shower, do all the things that I need to do. But at the same time, like, my minds are a tad bit cluttered thinking about the other person.
Yeah. So the question I posted, what goes through your mind when you think about helping that person? Like when you first met me and you were like, wow, this guy's really messed up. I of course, based on your relationship with Jesus, you knew what it was like to love somebody and to show love, to make them feel loved. But as time progresses, what changes? Like, because initially you see a big need, then you start helping, and then you start seeing them getting healthier and healthier, hopefully. What in your mind changes throughout that process? What goes through your mind?
Well, like, first of all, I want to throw it out there. Like, I don't think, wow, what a messed up person when I encounter someone. Just want to clean the slate with that one. No, when I'm thinking about what goes through my mind when I think about helping another person, and you're asking, like, in the beginning and as time progresses, is that what you're suggesting?
I feel like it needs to evolve over time. How much investment and what you invest and how you invest and everything. Like, is it the same all throughout, or does it change for you?
Well, see, I gotta think of let me think of the most recent example, and then maybe I can extrapolate from that. So the most recent person that I've been pouring my life into, who we talked about, like the first encounter, when the light turns on and God shines a spotlight into an area in their life, I begin to see them as who God sees them to be. Like, I don't view them negatively. I view them as a person who's gone off path, and and especially, I think a lot of people that kind of get this part of myself share similar qualities to me. So for instance, this most recent person that I've been investing into reminded me a lot of myself growing up. And some of the social awkwardness, but yet also brilliance in certain areas, reminded me of myself. And so it's like, I guess perhaps a common theme is I see parts of myself in each person that I pour a lot of myself into. And so I see that, and then I see what they could become, because I also know where I've been and where I have been able to come. And not necessarily do I think, oh, they'll become me by any means, but it's like, I could see that you have great potential to become something so much more. So that's what I initially see, and then I begin to think, okay, how can I help them get there? But then as time goes along, my ultimate goal is I want to go from, I'm down up here trying to pull them up to work to neck and neck, so that way they can pour into my life, and then it turns from a thought process of a mentorship into a partnership or a friendship. And then I feel like that's where the anxiety begins, because then it's that point, it's like, I brought you up to this place, do you still appreciate me as much as I appreciate you? And so then that's where I begin throwing myself into the point where I'm at right now, where I'm recognizing, okay, calm down. Because in the beginning, it's more so, oh, let me help you get up to here. And then if it turns out well, then it's like, okay, great. But then, like I said, if it goes really well, now I'm not only just invested into you, trying to help you, but now I'm emotionally invested into you. I'm like, I hope, that you appreciate me as much as I appreciate you. And then I guess insecurity comes in there.
What do you do when it doesn't go well?
Well,
does the anxiety begin at the same
no,
point?
if it doesn't go well, then I'm already beginning to withdraw. As like emotionally, I'm beginning to withdraw, just trying to think of situations where it began well and then it kind of went downhill at some point. Then I just begin kind of, as it begins to go unwell, then I begin emotionally withdrawing. But if it continues to go well, then it's like, that's when I become like to this anxious place of like, okay, calm down.
Yeah, I think that's interesting how when it goes poorly, you're able to draw a boundary and emotionally withdraw, but when it goes well, that is more difficult.
Yeah,
Like, actually, let me post this because I think this is relevant now. It's a two-part question. How do you determine where the boundary is between helping and enabling? And also, how do you determine where the boundary is between helping them and helping yourself?
I don't know how to answer those questions. I know that to determine the boundary between helping and enabling, like, I don't view
Hmm.
myself as an enabler. I don't think I have so much of an issue with enabling people, other than maybe enabling them to become reliant on me. That more
Yeah.
so would probably be the issue. But like enabling them, the sense of enabling them to sin or enabling them to like go into some addiction, that's never the case because I'm always like challenging them to grow. But I do think sometimes I could enable them to look at me as the Holy Spirit, and that's the problem. Um,
Hmm.
where the boundary is, that's why we're here today.
Yeah. Well, so you were talking about how you get to a point where you're starting to see the person more as a partner, where you've pulled them out of the hole and they're becoming autonomous, and you have difficulty pulling back. Like, what is that exactly? Like, is it fear that they're going to outgrow you? Is it fear that is it control? Like, what do you think? If you had to put a one word or a phrase on it, what would that be? How would you describe it?
um, I think a small portion of it would be fear that they'll outgrow me, but not so much. The only reason why there would be a part of it is because if they outgrow me, they also won't be interested in spending time with me. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not so much the fact that I'm afraid, because if they outgrew me, but yet they still were invested into me and we got to have that continuing mutual friendship, then I don't care. But if outgrowing me means that they just begin to leave me in the dust, that's when I begin to care and be like, oh no. So it's more so just like, I guess you could say fear of abandonment. It's like
Mm-hmm.
after a while of pouring into someone, and then they're good now, and now they just leave me, and it's just like I have put, and it's not, and if that were to happen, I would be okay and I would move on. But there was just that, in it's like that hump between
Mm-hmm.
does it happen or if it happened, and that in between part that sucks because it's like, and that's where I teeter on, and like I'm trying to figure out. And then once I know what direction it's going to head in, then either I move on or eventually there comes a point. Like for instance, I had one person way back when I was like in high school who was a part of my family who came into my life, and that whole codependency thing rose up within me. One of the first times that it did, and I just poured. Like I never could do this again from that point, but for an entire month, for however much I spent time in your life, Tim, like in this guy's life, like every single day I did something with them on video
Mm-hmm.
chat every single day, and I was just like helping him and pouring into him. We were enjoying certain things together. And eventually I came to this place with him where I was like, okay, he's not going anywhere. So then it went from I'm concerned I'm going to lose him as a friend to okay, I need space. Because I gave him unrealistic proportions of time, and he felt that was normal, and it was not
Mm-hmm.
normal. And in this case, it just went off into that, okay, I need space now.
Yeah.
But then there's been other relationships, other friend. I say relationships, but it's been friendships where they're not as clingy as that family member was, and so it was like, now I still keep teetering on will you stay or will you go, in that
Mm-hmm.
anxious place, and that's kind of where I've come up to again.
Yeah. What do you think your motives are when you help somebody? Because you've talked about this person. You know, you helped me. I know the current situation. Then you had the most recent guy. Well, kind of in tandem with that situation.
Yeah,
Like
pretty in tandem.
when you go into these relationships, what are all of your motives? Because you have more than one. It seems like.
Well, the ultimate motive, is ultimately I want to see them become the best that they can be. I want to know what, like we're doing here, what thoughts are getting in the way. How
Mhm.
can we address those thoughts? I want to see them become closer to Christ, and so I lead by example in my own walk and how I get closer to Christ. Um, but I think other motives would be, I'm motivated to develop a friendship. I'm motivated. Words came to my mind. I'm like debating if it's correct or not, but it came to mind. I want to keep them in my life.
Mhm.
So I guess I just need to say it. I'm motivated to keep them in my life. Um, hmm. I think those are the main things: developing them, growing them, making friendships, keeping them in my life, things of that nature. Um, I think what comes into my
Mhm.
mind. Um,
Yeah. Romance aside, this sounds a lot like missionary dating.
Missionary date,
Missionary friendshipping. You know what I
missionary
mean?
friendshipping.
Like in missionary, and for those of you who don't know what missionary dating is in the Christian world, it's where somebody who's not a Christian dates somebody who's, I'm sorry, somebody who is a Christian dates somebody who's not a Christian with the intention of converting them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of interesting because it's like obviously the intention is there where it's like you want them to have a better life, but you're also trying to get secondary gain from it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's subconscious. I've definitely done that before. But have you ever had any situations where you've been in somebody's life to the capacity where you're helping them and you didn't expect a friendship afterwards?
I think so, yes, but not with the emotions that like it's yes, I have had it, but like they at the same time these same emotions don't generate for whatever reason. It's with people that don't fully remind me of myself.
Hmm.
I think, um,
Mhm.
like they're just different people that I can just naturally be around. I'm like, I'm not really so worried. And then there are some people that kind of come close, or they might remind me
Mhm.
of family, but yet they don't bring me to that same mental dependency thinking.
Mhm.
Uh, so yes, I have, um, and they perhaps are more common than not because it's only certain people that really pull this aspect out of myself, and they
Hmm.
they often have certain aspects of myself that draw me to them, like care for God or precociousness or
Mhm.
um, whatever. I don't know. There's just different aspects that just make me like, and perhaps also that just that way of like, just that kind of like attitude of like that dryness and out here let me bring you in kind of thing. Like
Mhm.
there's that coming from them as well. And so
Yeah.
like I so quickly just come in and like okay I got you.
Yeah,
Because
I think I feel the same way a little bit because there have been people in my life where their life mimics my life, especially if they've gone through the same hardships. And more so than normal, I want those people to have a good life. I want them to feel seen. I want them to feel valued. I want to help them
yeah,
because I can relate to their situation. But do you think maybe a part of you knows the hurt and the loneliness and well, I use the term loneliness. You haven't used that yet, but like you said, you didn't have a lot of friends growing up.
right.
Um, do you think a part of you is seeking their benefit by kind of I don't even know how to put this into words. You see your childhood in them, and so it's like you're thinking to yourself, I didn't get approved of while I was younger. I didn't have a lot of people who valued me when I was younger. So I want this, me, I am in them. I want it to be valued. So I'm clinging to that because does that make sense?
It did for a second, and then the end part threw me off.
Yeah, where it's like you knew that you were awesome growing up or like you knew the parts of yourself that you wanted to be known growing up like me every man that movie the new kid where the kid comes into town and he's the new kid he was previously not popular and he gets super popular people start seeing like the good sides of him um Yeah, I had that growing up too. I didn't have a lot of friends, but I always thought to myself, man, if people only knew this about me, you know. And now I see it in other people, and I'm like, oh man, that's what was not valued in me as a kid. So I want to value that. So in some way, I'm validating myself.
I don't know if it's a matter of me wanting to validate myself by being in a friendship with them. I don't think. I recognize these characteristics that are
Hmm.
good and that remind me of the good qualities of myself, and I can relate to them. And so like whatever it is about seeing that just makes me want to invest into them all the more.
Hmm.
Because it's like, because okay, it could be. I think what it could be is like, this is something that I can endorse. Like, I can trust this. I can. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I know it's weird because it's with those same people that have characteristics that I recognize in myself that sometimes I can also feel the most insecure if they don't feel the same towards me. Ironically,
Hmm.
and it's confusing. That's why we're here today, because it's like I don't understand it. I feel it, but I don't
Hmm.
understand it.
Well, it sounds like a value thing. So basically, what you're saying is, when I see this in other people, I cling to it because it feels good for that to be recognized. And you're also saying that when you see it and they don't see the value in it, it makes you insecure because what you're seeing in them is you.
Well, not saying if they don't see the value in that part of themselves. I'm just saying in the friendship itself.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Whether or not they see value in those aspects, I don't. That doesn't
Yeah.
really bother me. I encourage that within them. But like if they decide to go another route, whatever. I recognize they're a separate individual.
Mhm. Hmm. Um, when you actually do pull back and you start rationing time with the person, like, how does that feel?
Well, it depends. Like with the current situation I was going through, a couple weeks from now, wouldn't really think too much about it. Since the couple weeks, now it's like rationing time is like it feels necessary but also uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And I'm uncomfortable because I feel uncomfortable. It's not even because I'm uncomfortable in general, it's because I feel uncomfortable that I feel this way. It's like ha, and so it's like that's
Hmm.
why I'm intentionally trying now to give myself space so that way my
Hmm.
emotions can reset and I can go back to where I was 2 weeks ago before this
Hmm.
occasion. Uh,
Well, hello, Deathbane.
hello. Good to hear from you. Oh
Ah,
gosh.
sorry. I split my knee on the
Ah.
on the table. Um,
Ow.
yeah. So when you, because you and we've known each other for what, 6 or 7 years now.
6 years.
It's been a while, and we've gone through a lot. We were super intense friends early on
Mm-hmm.
because you were helping me through that breakup that I had, and then you talked to me about who Jesus was. And then we had that awful fight where we beat each other up, and that was pretty horrible.
Wait, what?
I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. But we were very consistent friends, and then I started dating Ariane, and she started taking a lot of the time that you and I would spend together. And then I got married to Ariane, and then it's like, whoop, Brandon got knocked down a notch on my circle, because obviously you're not going to have more priority in my life than my wife does. Um, but what was that like for you, going through the transition of
So that makes me think. Going through that
yeah,
transition. Um, Another factor I think that plays into why I'm in this space. Um, that I probably went through at times when we were making that transition, as you were becoming married and then had a wife and stuff. Have a wife. Um,
mhm,
is in this time, like I have my support group. I have you, I have Eric, I have Dan, I have my parents. and then I have, secondary friends
Mm-hmm.
that are close but not quite to this. They don't know me the same way. Um, and I'm in another one of those places again where it's like part of my support group is unavailable, and so, but one part of that support group, is very available, kind of thing of like, and so that's the issue. It's like, again, it's like all my time, you know, I, I'm in a situation where it's like I don't. It
Mm-hmm.
was like a couple months ago, where like you and Eric and Dan were all like pretty busy, and so now that was another time where I was feeling pretty clingy because it was like I don't have anyone to go to but God, and then there's other people, but they just don't really, the way they see things doesn't really quite hit me the same way as you see things, or Eric sees things, or Dan sees things, or in some cases my parents sees things. And I was going through issues with my parents at the time, so I was pretty dry. And so I'm kind of in a similar place again, where it's just like, once again, my close circle of friends is just not quite as available, so I go straight to the person with the most availability, and that's part of the issue again.
Mm-hmm.
Where so it's just, that's the thing. So in the transition, one of the boons of the transition, that as you were getting married and stuff, was I moved in with Dan. And so, I had support group that could help when you weren't so available. I still had Dan, and then eventually Eric came into my life, and there are just other people that came into my life that I could talk to and stuff. And so I'm kind of back at this stuck place again, where it's like I need people that I can talk to. I don't have a wife at this
Mm-hmm.
moment where I can share these things with. So my desire to help person and invest so much goes into the person with the most availability
Mm-hmm.
when I'm anxious, and I don't have a large net of people that I can talk to and spend time with, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And so like um you would probably be the second most available person. I'm barely hearing much from Dan at the moment. He's been busy, and then my parents, like, if they're not quite as in the same place as they used to be, just simply because reasons. Um, but things have gotten better between us, but since a couple months ago. But I don't know. I think that's another factor. It's like when you were transitioning to being a married man, I had other people, but in this exact moment, I don't have a large net of people that are close to me that I can trust.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's
Mm.
part of the factor as well.
You know, just hearing you talk about all the people you have that you can reach out to makes me think about what I was like. I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years ago. Um, like I couldn't really reach out to my parents because I'd gotten to a point where everything that they taught me, I picked out the good stuff, and I, unfortunately picked out some of the bad stuff too. But they weren't really that great for helping me make good decisions. You know, um, they loved me, and they definitely gave me their goodwill and good intent, and would make recommendations to the best of their ability. But a lot of times they weren't helpful recommendations because it just wasn't applicable. And I also didn't have any good close friends back then. I mean, I had my mentor, and I did that thing to him too. And I can only imagine how he must have felt having this 20 something guy. Oh, hey, I'm not going to say his name on air, but I was going to him with everything. I'd call him like 3 or 4 times a day because I was in Amway, and they said, stick to your mentor. I was like, this is great. I've never had somebody like this. I have free reign to and free access to, and they told me I can reach out to them, so I'm going to talk to them every second of the day that I can and get all the good stuff. And I can only imagine how exhausted he felt because there were many times where he'd be with his family, and I didn't understand boundaries back then. I was, hey, person, my car is broken down on the side of the highway. I called him before my parents, and he came and picked me up. Um, I know there's a lot of people out there that are like that don't have support. And so whenever something comes into their life where somebody shows interest, I was with somebody last night who said, I asked them what they were looking for or what their favorite thing was about the people that they had dated. And their response was, well, they liked me. I'm like, ooh, what do you mean they liked you? And they said, well, I didn't really think that anybody cared about me. So as soon as somebody said, oh, yeah, I'm actually interested, that was good enough. It didn't matter what type of character or quality of life they had or their intentions for me. They said they liked me. We're dating now. I just think that's so interesting. But on the flip side, you have a ton of people who are your support system. And so it's like, but you're going through kind of the same feelings, especially when I got married and then when Dan got married. And it's like, well, God forbid, what if your parents, like moved away or passed away, and then, Eric moved away, and then everything shrivels for you. I totally understand how that would make you feel like I need to hang on to whatever sources I can.
Yeah. I think talking about this, I'm recognizing now. I think this whole issue is because either I need to expand my support group somehow or something. Because I feel like that's the main issue. It's just like, like perhaps I just need to have more closer friends because the friends that I do have, like, you know, they're married or something, or there's just like, so it's just like as a single until the day comes where I have a wife. It's like, I still have that
Mm-hmm.
need to be known by other people and to talk about them. And you're busy, Dan's busy, and sometimes Eric is too. And so it's just like, I think like that probably kind of comes from that place, and I can and do go to God, um, but I don't know. I feel like it may just be coming because it's like I part of the issue is anxiety. I have anxieties, but I know how to bring that to God, and I know how to talk it out with people. But what do you do when the people that you would talk to are only available during
Mm-hmm.
certain times and they're not really as open? You go to whoever has the most open and free time, and that's who gets that's who gets, at least in my life, that's who gets my time
Yeah.
and
Well,
attention.
you also have a really strong knack to like work really hard at something. You don't just put 10% of your person into doing anything.
Right.
And ladies, if you are watching, Brandon Brown is the type of man that puts 150% of himself into anything, especially relationships. But that also hurts because it's like when you don't have many avenues to spread the love, and you're also trying to fix something, dude, especially when you try and fix something, you try super super hard, and it's almost like you think to yourself, okay, well, God helps those who helps themselves. Oh, okay, well, I'm going to help myself 100. God, I actually don't need you because I'm going to do this all myself. I'm going to work it out. I'm going to try really hard. I'm going to be super hard on myself. I'm going to ask 50 people for advice, and I'm going to take that advice, I'm going to mull it over, and then I'm going to talk to Tim, Dan, and Eric, and we're going to talk about it. Like, you're really like forward with that type of thing. And when you have all that energy and all that, like, I mean, that's a gift that you have, that extreme focus. And when you only have one place to put it, it makes total sense where it's like, you know
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And I'm realizing now that's the issue. I don't know what the solution is though, Tim. Like, go find more communities to be a part of. I, I don't know. Uh, hmm.
Hmm.
But I'm recognizing that's a part of the issue. It's just like I can't just go to you. I can't just go like I can go to out of you, Eric and Dan. I can go to you about second most,
Hmm.
because we work together. And so, I sometimes do look forward to that 1 hour window that we have right before we start, because I know that I can guaranteedly sit down with you and start talking about stuff. And, like,
Hmm.
yes, I can't wait for this. Um, But you know, you know, like Dan, I just haven't been able to connect with him as much as I want to because he's getting used to the married life and everything, and
Hmm.
it's just with my parents and stuff, it's just not quite the same. Eventually, a woman is going to replace that, you know, and I'm looking forward to that. Maybe I need to get myself more out there in the dating scene. I don't know. Maybe that's the solution.
Yeah.
I've come to a
You know,
place where it's time for me no longer to be single.
maybe, but this makes me think about you know how we all have, especially in the gaming world, we all have those one or two games that we always focus on, especially if you've ever played an MMO like World of Warcraft. Like my big thing was League of Legends,
Yeah.
and outside of League of Legends, I'd play Diablo a little bit, and maybe some Call of Duty. And I remember when I got married, I didn't play League of Legends for a year or two, and that was a main focus of my time before I got married. It's like what I would do in my free time, you know, but I just didn't play it anymore. It's like, what am I going to do with my free time now? Obviously, when I wasn't with Harry Ann, and then I'd play Call of Duty for a little bit, and I'd get bored, and then I'd play Diablo, and it was just not. And it's like, my life sucks. What am I going to do? Because the things I used to fill it with before just didn't have the same fulfillment,
Hmm.
you know. And then we started the group, and I got a promotion at my job, and that took a lot more headspace of my time, and I felt good about myself again because I had direction, you know. Um, but then I got bored with that, and it just it makes a lot of sense. I think it comes down to like how you feel like your time is super valuable, and what you're doing with it is also super valuable. So if you're not doing something with that time, it's like, ugh, this feels bad. It feels like I'm at a standstill. It feels like, but you're bursting at the seams with creativity.
Mm. That's an
It,
interesting point, though. At the very least, if nothing ever changes with the amount of friends that I have, I do need to be more comfortable where I'm at,
mhm.
rather than being anxious simply because I'm not like having physical immediate responses to every little thing that I do. One of the things that was spoken over to me yesterday, by Beth Johnson, um, was of like I wish I unfortunately I don't have this is going to be like a 4-to-1 input ratio of what she said, like it's missing detail a lot, but there was something to the lines of like how I was in a place and God wanted me to be here, and I kept wanting to go over here and figure it out and like try to figure out how to make things happen. God's like, no, I just want you to be right here. But I want to go back out here and go do things and like try to make this happen. No, we're just gonna stay right here in this lane. You're doing just fine right here. You're where you're supposed to be. And she was talking about that. And that's part of the reason why I'm like determined to take tomorrow off and just make it be my Shabbat, my Sabbath, my day of rest. Because it's like I have been going, because, and this is something that God showed me. I'm going to put that down. This is something that God showed me in a word when I was taking a walk a couple of Sundays ago. Is like God said, every time you feel like you're failing, you put your time and energy into other people. And you invest into them a whole lot because you're not quite sure, are you doing the right thing or not. Well, now I'm going to invest into you.
Mhm.
And so it could be that thing. It's like what's, I guess, maybe another motive of why I pour so much energy into people is because I feel like maybe what God has for me is not for right. Oh God. Ah, I could feel the tears starting to try to come when I said that.
Let them flow, Brandon. I think this will be the first time you've cried on stream.
We'll see. But it's like I feel like maybe what God has shown me is not for right now, and I just need to invest in other people because it's not right now. And so if what I feel like God's calling me to do is not working or not happening, then my next go-to is to invest into other people because that's what makes me feel like I have purpose. More
Hmm.
like Tim, like there are a few things in life that make me feel more fulfilled than investing in other people's lives. The only other things that would come close is running a business like this and doing things of this nature where I'm able to help people en masse
Hmm.
and stuff of that nature. So whenever I feel like something like this isn't working, it is my natural go-to instead just pour into someone else's life. Like for instance, when I was, dating the previous girl that I was dating, I was in a 2-year period of time where I didn't know where I was supposed to go next. Like God had me walk away from United Gamers Nations and to just focus on my local community. And so Japan came up during that time, and I began to think about that in 2018.
Hmm.
But um, it like it's still like things weren't moving fast enough. So like when my girlfriend came into my life at the time, it was like a relief to me. It was like, oh, okay, I can just pour my entire self into her and just take care of her needs and build her up and forget about the fact that I don't know where I'm
Hmm.
going. And just
Yeah.
it's about her. And so that's my tendency. I guess you're asking like what are the motivation factors for these things that I do? Well, part of it's because I don't know if what God's showing me is for now or for later. And so, what does immediately give me results of feeling like, okay, I'm making a difference and there's tangible microwave results is when I'm investing wholeheartedly into another person.
Hmm.
And that's where I come alive again when I don't know if the other things are working.
Yeah. It's really interesting that you bring it up that way and talk about that specifically because what if your life was such that everything you did for God would not have any results whatsoever during your lifetime? Would you continue to do it? And we live in a society where we want instant gratification. We want to see instant results, and if we don't see instant results, we give it up. It's like I'm going to do this for a week, and if I don't see what I think I should see, I quit. And a lot of people just have so much difficulty being present and being still and being quiet that if they're not watching a YouTube video or watching a stream or playing a game or in the middle of a movie series or have tons of friends or have tons of crap on their calendar, if they're not working 4 jobs, there's somebody that works with my wife and they've got 4 or 5 jobs and they say, I just don't like to sit still. That makes me sad,
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't want to deal with what's in here because what's in here is a manifestation of what's in here. And a lot of people are afraid of what's in here because they don't like what they see. And so they just escape in all these different avenues where they can make themselves feel good instead of addressing, okay, why do I feel this way?
And see, the ironic thing is, it's not a matter that I don't like what's in here. I love what's in here. It's
Hmm.
just a matter of like, uh, it's just a matter of like, I have the things where I feel like God is calling me to, and if I don't see them going in the direction that I think they're supposed to, then
Hmm.
I doubt myself or I doubt what God said or whatever or something of that nature. Or like I especially live in the reality of, like you said, like what if it never is for right now, it's for when my children, for instance, once I'm dead, and then they'll step into something I've been working all this time. And so that's why I go into other people, because at least I know that if I don't ever really get to experience it, then maybe you will, or maybe someone else will, and I can play a part by just giving you everything God has given me within reason, so that way maybe you can get what I want to have,
Hmm.
and so I invest everything I can into that person until I God brings me back to what he showed me, or I see a door beginning to open or something of that nature. And that's where I've been. I've lived that for the past two
Hmm.
years especially. um you know and so like
Yeah.
in this current space of trying to get my hopes back up, like we mentioned 2 Mondays ago, which I feel like I'm getting a little bit more hopes up right now. um it's just I've lived in this space of what if it's not for now? What if I'm just arbitrarily putting time frames in my head because that's what I want to see happen, but that's not what God said, kind of thing. And I'm just like not necessarily doubting that he said it, but that doubting that the soon means actually soon within a soon that means soon to me soon.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I think, when you're following what God wants for your life, I think you're supposed to have hope. And if I think about the other side of things where you're just trying to fabricate life on your own without God, it's like, okay, well, I'm working this job, I'm doing super well. Well, I mean, how are you going to feel when you don't have that job anymore? You know, you're going to try and fill that void because everybody's got that void of purpose. If you don't know what your purpose is and you're not following it, oh man, I don't have my job anymore. Oh well, let me clean to this girl. You know, okay, I don't have this job anymore, or my job's not fulfilling. Let me find something else I can fill this with. Okay, well, I got this girl, and oh man, it's a relationship, and you go from girl to girl, and then you figure you can go through all these things, and your joy has to be consistent, especially when you follow God, because you're going to go through seasons where God's equipping you and then moving you on, equipping you, moving you on. And if you look at our Thought Raid playlist, we've got well over 100 videos now, and it's not saying, oh, you guys are so awesome, you're 100 videos. If I was 20 years old and I went to our YouTube page and I saw, how do you deal with pornography? How do you handle fitting in with others? What do you do if you feel unheard? How do you navigate social situations? How do you have hope? Like, that would have been awesome. And we've got all these seeds in the ground. What if they don't come up until after we're dead? Um, why do we want the glory for something that we didn't even do? Because we know that God put this in our hearts to do, right? And it's all for God's glory, not ours. But I think we can get tripped up with that void, thinking that it's something that we do to manifest how awesome we are. At least I feel that way.
Yeah.
And I felt that way about my friendships and relationships too.
But see, Tim, you have to understand my brain. I never think, oh, I want you to think how awesome I am. I really don't care. One of my favorite characters in the role play that I've been doing recently is Saren Noir. And he is intentionally an idiot. Like, he portrays himself as idiotic, and he makes quick decisions that make people roll their eyes at him and brush him off as stupid. But in reality, he's not stupid. He's very perceptive and does things intentionally. And that's how I am. I don't care if you think I'm stupid. I don't care if you think lowly of myself. Like, your perception of my value is inconsequential. And maybe that's because I grew up as an only child with parents that loved me and always instilled value into me. So, and I know that God approves of me and loves me. So I really could care less what you think about me. It's not a matter of that. It's just a matter of, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? Have I gotten off and I'm not, I missed something? So, like, and again, with relation to Thought Raid or any dream that I have, if I feel like I have misinterpreted the time and I'm, like, pushing something that's not for now, I go into other friendships and stuff of that nature and pour everything I got into them, because I feel like that still fulfills my purpose of helping someone. Regardless if I help a million people or just one person, I could care less, because I know that person is just as valuable as everyone else. And so I know that one person could be the next president of the United States. That one person could start a company that could solve a lot of issues. That one person could be a doctor that could save a bunch of lives. So I don't, when I go into other people, it's not necessarily for selfish reasons that I can see, other than when it starts becoming codependent. And so that's where the main issue lies. But I don't frequently think about, let me do this so you think I'm cool or whatever that nature is. Like, no, I always do things because I hope that it benefits you and that you grow from it. It's just a matter of that right now, because I'm questioning, is this the time? Is God going to invest into me now that when the money dries up, people will start investing into this and we can actually sustainably do this? Or do I need to now start focusing on finding another job? Since I'm in this awkward place, I guess as an alleviation to that anxiety almost, I'm pouring into one particular person right now. And to the point where it's kind of codependent or feels so, and I'm like, okay, why? What's going on? What's the issue? And like we're talking about, part of that's because I don't have a large swath of people that I can go to at the moment. but another part of it also is because I've been like struggling with, is this for now? Am I doing the right thing? Like,
Hmm.
and just like having a hard time, you know, resting almost. And it's weird because I don't necessarily feel tired, but I really feel the need to rest tomorrow. It's not a physical tiredness. It's more of like a back in my head, like I'm really feeling clingy to people, therefore I need to just distance myself and rest for a bit so I can reset my emotions and come back
Hmm.
to center again.
Yeah. Hmm.
I am a complex individual.
You're a very complex individual. Yeah, I kind of, I kind of agree too, because when I start looking at the results of what we're doing, um, I start well, okay, on my end of things, I start overlooking like what I'm doing in the present, you know, um, and I start thinking, okay, well, what's this relationship going to be like when we have the Wednesday night group? Sometimes the thought goes through my head, okay, well, this new person came. Are they going to continue coming? Are we able going to be able to be friends? Or do they care about how loved they feel? Oh man, did they feel loved while they were here? Oh no, I haven't seen. Oh, these people didn't come back. I start thinking about all those thoughts, and it's like I did something wrong. But in actuality, it's like, okay, well, in the present time, did I listen to God, and did I love in the best capacity that I had? And if the answer is yeah, it's like, okay, well, why am I so concerned with, is it going to be a friendship? Are they coming back? If doing these videos, my thought process is, okay, well, what's God put on my heart to do today? Okay, make a video about, like you did, suicide awareness. You know, am I just going to look at it and think to myself, okay, well, this doesn't have the result that I was expecting. Gosh, I failed. Let me go hyper focus on this thing over here. Or am I going to say, well, that's what God had me do that day. I'm just going to continue to move on through joy, regardless of what my situation looks like. And, I think you and I just express it differently, because when I get in those moments, I'm like, okay, let me just take my hands off. Let me just, uh, but you're the opposite. You think to yourself, oh man, the results aren't what I expected. Let me just do more,
Mm,
you know?
yeah.
And
Yeah, because
yeah.
I always believe, like, it's on me. If I don't, who will? Kind of thing. Like, I have to do this. Because my concern, it's not now at this current place of my maturity, I understand more of God's role in things. But at the time, I thought, am I able to get in God's way of blessing me? What if I got in God's way? Because I wasn't listening right. I wasn't working on this right, and so therefore I just missed the blessing entirely because I was thinking he
Mhm.
was in this direction, but he's not. So I'm like constantly course correct, course correct, course correct, course correct, course correct, course correct. And it's super anxious.
Yeah. That's the beauty of our relationship. You're a lot like Ariane in that she also tries really hard and stuff, and she's always worried about, oh man, did I miss God's voice? Oh, I did that thing wrong. Oh, failed again, and the anxiety builds up as she perceives that she's failed. But I, on the other hand, I'm like, oh, I failed. I'm going to give myself some grace. I deserve this. But I do that too much. So,
but I need to do that more.
Brandon, sit at my feet. Learn from me.
I do, Tim. That's why we're together, okay? There's a reason
so
why
friends,
you're part of my close friends, because you have something I need. I need that.
Yeah,
But
trying
more
is
than
stressful.
that, though.
Why do that? Thank you, Deathbane. Just don't try. Just let the world fall apart around you. That's the easiest thing.
I can't do that. But I do need to. I need to do more relaxing, which is why I am definitely, tomorrow is just gonna relax. I'm not gonna worry about it.
And dude, that's the thing. And talking about God, I think a lot of people look at him from the perspective of, oh no, there's all these commandments, and there's all these, like in Leviticus, all these laws that I have to adhere to have his favor. And they think it's only works, and only like do this, do this, do this, live this way, change this. And it's like, man, relax. God loves you regardless if you're a poo poo head or not. It's like,
Head.
Obviously he'll call you. He'll say, "Hey Tim, go clean your room," and there's responsibility there. But he's a father, and he wants you just to, when he says stand up and go do something, stand up and go do something. If he's not telling you that, relax and just let him love you.
You know what's so fascinating is that in the past I've been able to like figure out when I'm overstressing, but this time it's been harder for me to actually feel that and recognize that. But yet I still am. And as I'm talking about it with you, I recognize that I am. I'm overstressing. I'm trying to figure everything out and do all these things because it's come out of the fact that, again, where's the unemployment going to go? Kind of eventually that's going to run out. And so, like, logically, like, oh, okay, I got to figure this out. But just because that's happening doesn't mean I still need to start figuring out. I still, Tim, to this day, on my board behind this green screen, have it written that it's agreement with God that when it's the time for me to do something different, he'll tell me. And I don't have to worry about it or stress about it or figure it out. And he hasn't told me. And so there's no reason for me to start trying to figure out how that's going to look until he actually tells me, like, we've gotten into an agreement about. So I need to relax. Maybe what I also need, Tim, is just like a whole week where I just don't interact with people and just do. I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. But I need a week.
I would love that because you're so clingy.
Wow! Wait! Oh God! No! But at least a week's period of time of just not so focused on I have to help this person, whatever. But just if I want to spend time with them, I can. Otherwise, I might just spend time just doing what I want to do. It's just, it's just also of like getting bored with what I have to do at home anyways, though. So it's like, it's more fun to help people than it is to be at home.
Well, Brandon, if you were a Christian worth your salt, you would go serve your community. Do you know how many homeless people are in Winston-Salem? They need sandwiches, Brandon. You need to go lay hands on people. You're not doing that.
Oh, God, help me. Let's not go down that route of condemnation. I do help homeless people on occasion. But still, I think the main thing is just, I don't know. I don't feel God moving me to like start doing anything different when it comes to finding more friends. He's brought me a lot of friends. So I don't really think it's a matter of like I need to go out there yet, unless God were to tomorrow tell me like, Brandon, you need to expand your circle again. I don't think so. I think maybe it's just more a matter of just relaxing and trusting and stop stressing. Because then when I'm less anxious, I'm also less trying to like spend every moment with someone else. Like I can actually be by myself and be okay. Hi, I am is a friend.
So I saw Kyle last night, and he related this, and I feel like I need to bring it up. It's a Sheryl Crow song, that one that says "I'm going to soak up the sun," and it goes, well, if I can pull it up, it says, "I don't have digital, I don't have diddly squat. It's not having what you want, it's wanting what you've got." And then she talks about, "I'm going to soak up the sun, tell everyone to lighten up. There's nobody to blame, and every time you feel lame, I'm looking up." Because it's a choice to feel like I'm striving, like I don't have enough, like what I have is not good enough. I need more. I need to do more. I need to be more. And God's like, dude, just chill, just be. Like I remember I heard that, and a lot of Christians made fun of me because it's like, dude, that's been on pillows since we were a fetus. And it's like, no, like legit, God just wants you just be. Just be and know that I am God. Know that you will hear my voice. Know that I care more about what you're doing in your life than you do, and I am more capable of leading you than you are following.
Yeah. I need to relax. I need to just be. Yeah. But I think now, moving from this point, especially make sure we don't go tremendously over our time, I think I need to take some time and just also figure out, like, just invite God to help me in the process of resting and relaxing, because it's like there's still parts of me that I don't think anyone can really answer for me except God of how I can properly rest during this time. But I do think I could use a little more direction, looking into like what God can I do so that way I'm not right now
Mhm.
There's probably some things that we can work out that we're like, okay, I can do that. We can do
Mhm.
this, and for focusing and resting. Besides, of course, just playing games, which I'm
We
going
should
to do
we should go
anyways.
to a spa. We should get our nails done. Get our face did. Get our hair. Whatever
Yes,
women do at the salon
yes,
or
yes.
whatever.
Pedicures and manicures, just the whole 9 yards. Just get me now.
Brandon,
Hmm.
we should give you a makeover.
A makeover. Oh.
Yes. We were
Uh,
Stormy was talking about this. She was like, we need to give that boomer a makeover.
oh my god. Of course you would say something of that nature. Thanks. But anyways, oh, I can hear a train in the distance. Anyways, um so I think this is a good place to cut it out unless you have anything you want to add in, Tim.
Mm-mm.
All right. So we're gonna end it here. So I want to thank you guys for watching. It has been a lot of fun. We broadcast every week, Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, we'll be broadcasting this Friday, where we'll have a planned topic for that. And if you guys have any particular questions that you'd like for us to answer, please let us know in the comments. Send us an email at thoughtrate@gmail.com, or use the link that's at the bottom. It will take you to our Discord page where you can bring in questions there as well. But we always love to take on your thoughts and find better ways of thinking about them. So bring in your questions. But I want to thank you guys for watching, and we will see you again this Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to be checking out on Facebook, because that's where we'll be showing you what the topic will be as we get closer to that. But you guys have a good night.